Hey guys, last time we discussed about AI, and now today we're going to discuss about machine learning and how a machine learning model actually learns. So let's get straight into it. Before we understand machine learning, we need to get a clear map of where machine learning fits in the broader world of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is not just one single technology. It is a field made up of multiple approaches to building intelligent systems. At the highest level, we have artificial intelligence. This includes any system that performs tasks that normally require human intelligence, such as recognizing images, understanding languages, solving problems, or making decisions. Inside AI, one major branch is machine learning. Machine learning focuses on systems that learn patterns from data instead of relying only on fixed human written rules. Inside machine learning, we have deep learning. Deep learning uses multi-layer neural networks that basically mimic the human brain to learn complex representations from large amounts of data. It is especially powerful for images, speech, and language. A major application area built on deep learning is natural language processing or NLP. NLP deals with how machines understand and generate human language. Tasks like translation or analyzing emotions and text understanding all fall under this category. Now, with the power of NLP, a powerful class of models called large language models or LLMs have emerged. LLMs are trained on massive amounts of text data and can generate human like responses like ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini. Now, using LLMs, we can create new content such as text, images, audio, or video, which is generative AI or Gen AI. Now that you know how AI is structured, let's move on and learn machine learning. But now imagine you wanted the computer to recognize an image of a cat. Now, what rules would you write? Cats have fur. Well, even other animals have fur too, right? Cats have whiskers. Even other animals have whiskers. Cats have pointy ears. Well, the same rule applies again to other animals too. You see, this is where the problem arises. You can't write millions of rules for one program, or else we would never be able to complete it. And this is where machine learning changes everything. Machine learning is a way of teaching computers through examples instead of instructions. Well, how does a child learn what a cat is? You don't tell a child if a cat has this and this, it's a cat. You just show the child many cats, and then after some time, the child's brain automatically begins recognizing that an animal is a cat. Machine learning works almost in the same way. Instead of feeding a computer rules and writing code which describe those rules, we just feed the computer data. And this is not like 100 images, we give it like millions of images. And the computer studies the data, discovers patterns, and gradually becomes better at making predictions. Then the knowledge it gains is stored in something called a model. A model is essentially the computer's understanding of the patterns it has learned. Now, let's say we go back to our example to identify cats. We collect data of thousands of images labeled as cat and some images labeled as not cat, which are images of other animals. The next step is training. The algorithm studies these images and searches for patterns. At first, its guesses are terrible, but every mistake the computer makes, it learns from it and makes even more patterns. Gradually, it learns what makes a cat look like a cat, and it's finally a trained model. Finally, when a new image appears that you've never used in your data, the model uses everything it learned to predict whether the image contains a cat. That's machine learning in its simplest form. Learn from data, find patterns, make predictions, and improve over time. But there are three types of machine learning. Not all machine learning works the same way. In fact, there are three major ways in which a machine can learn. Those are supervised learning, unsupervised learning, and reinforcement learning. So, what is supervised learning? This is the most common type of machine learning used today. Let's say you're teaching a child to identify animals. You show them a picture and say, this is a cat. Then another picture saying, this is a cat too. Then another saying, this is a dog. Over time, the child learns the difference, and that's exactly how supervised learning works. The computer receives data along with the correct answers. For example, you give it an email and tell it's spam, or you give it a medical scan and tell it's positive or negative. So the algorithm studies these examples and learns the relationship between the inputs and the correct answers. And then when it sees new data, it makes the prediction by itself. In simple terms, supervised learning means learning from examples where the answers are already known. But next up, we have unsupervised learning. Imagine someone gives you a giant box of Lego pieces, but there is no instruction manual, no labels, no answers. You simply start looking for different ways you can start building using those Lego blocks. You might look for patterns with the pieces, the color, the shape, or the size, and that's exactly what unsupervised learning does. The computer receives data, but it does not receive any label. You give an image of a cat to the computer, but you don't explicitly tell the computer that it is an image of a cat. It is a job of the computer to discover hidden patterns by itself. For example, let's say a company has information about millions of customers. Now, no company employee is going to write millions of lines of code just to group those customers. Instead, they will give the customer data to a model, and without any instruction, an algorithm might automatically identify groups such as frequent shoppers, the common things they buy, and the people who are budget conscious. But nobody ever told the computer that these groups existed. It discovered them on its own. So we use unsupervised learning in, let's say, customer segmentation, or like your Netflix recommendation system, or detecting an anomaly, or discovering hidden patterns in large data sets. In simple terms, unsupervised learning means finding patterns without being given answers. Now, the next type is called reinforcement learning, and this is the most fascinating. Let's say you're teaching a dog a new trick. When the dog sees something right, it gets a reward. When it does something wrong, it does not get a reward. Now, over time, the dog learns that if I do this, I will get a reward, and it starts to perform those actions only. That is the exact same way reinforcement learning works. The AI first interacts with an environment, the data we provide it, makes decisions, and sometimes it receives rewards, sometimes it receives penalties. And the AI gradually learns what is the best strategy and consistently follows that. Now, let's say you're teaching an AI to play a video game. Now, at the first time it plays, it probably performs horribly. It'll probably crash, lose points, make random moves, and lose every game. But after thousands or even millions of attempts, it starts discovering what actually works, what can make the AI win. And eventually, after so many attempts of training, it becomes better than human players. So, reinforcement learning is used when you play a video game against a computer, or when you're playing chess with a friend, or when you're playing chess on your computer. If this video helped you learn machine learning and how a model actually learns from data, then make sure to subscribe and hit the like button for more videos like this.